Hello, hello, welcome. I am Tatami, the Sacred Bruja, here to lead the Sacred Sister Circle with you again this Monday. I brought you all into my living room today because, if you'll remember me last week, I was like, do not have me stand up. The only times I stood up that whole session was to take care of my kids. Like, did not want to move. I was having such a hard period. But now I'm like feeling the energy. I was like, you know what? You know what I haven't done? I haven't taken y'all to the living room because this living room is a lot better than my old one. It just I just don't like my old house. I should just stop talking shit about that place. Anyways, so I feel like I have a place that I can share this spot with y'all. So I was like, let's just go where there's a little more space because I'm always bumping things in my room anyways. Like that altar is poor thing, my poor womb altar in there is always getting the beat down from me dancing around and acting the fool in there. So I was like, let's come out here, let's enjoy some space together. Um, I did want to make mention. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, first of all, for our schedule today, we're going to be doing a little bit of work out of my Punani Proverbs book because that one is hoodoo centered and it has, a section about prayer. So I was like, oh, that's like, why not? And then I have a book that I'm really excited to share with you guys because that one is one I got specifically for this sister circle. I do like a lot of research, which I'll get into more later. But I do a lot of research on books that might actually help us in what we're trying to learn and what I'm trying to learn. And it seems like a lot of you are trying to learn some of the same things. So I'm really excited. I found it. On Amazon for like 25 bucks and like all the other ones were like 100. So I like randomly that book popped up in my mind again and I went and checked it and there happened to be a cheap version. So I got that for us last month. So I was really excited. And then I also wanted to make sure to remind you if you are not already using the winter solstice energy for your New Year manifestations, I really urge you not to wait until New Year's Eve to put some energy and some magic into that because the winter solstice has so much energy and so much it's just a really good time for you to be putting it forth those manifestations, putting a little bit of spiritual work every day, just writing down, making affirmation journals where you write down your affirmations over and over again, making a journal like a winter solstice journal where you can really write all of those things down that you're trying to do, or however it is you do it, however it is you personalize it, but really finding ways to focus on that, meditation, chanting the affirmations. Maybe you're not much of like a writer in that way, or you don't want to go back and see that or whatever. You don't have the money to go get another notebook. Use what you have and really try to focus on those goals now because now is just a really good time to do it. It's on, I don't want to say it's too late on New Year's Eve, but it is kind of like rushed when you wait until so soon, you know what I mean? So anyway, I've already bought my planner for next year, and I got myself a budget book too. I was like, you know what, like your girl, I have like a lot of goals before I hit 30. Like if you know me, I'm like excited to be 30. I've been excited to be 30 since I was like a helpless and like abused little kid. Like my whole life I've just wanted to be like put together and like know what the fuck is going on, and my mind has always been 30. So I'm like nearing 30. I have like a couple more years, so I'm like I need to get some of these things down pat that I didn't have before. But anyways, let me see. Today we're going to do, let's see, we're focusing on prayer. And I have my mott wings on, so I thought we would just dance around and enjoy ourselves, listen to some sacred woman music, which it's been like a couple weeks since we did. And it's been like a couple weeks since we had like moved, like last week we moved, but not really. It was like just a meditation. So anyway, we'll get started today. Oh, I wanted to say this decor idea of putting the shower curtain on the wall. I got that from what's her name? Lisa Marie Goodson of the Afrocentric Decor channel on here on YouTube, but hers is like actually fire. I only had this one, and in the dark bathroom at my old house, she like looked really like ethereal and warm and brown. But here she's, it's not the same effect. I think I need to get a different, a different girl. All right, where was I going to start?
The Great Mother. I come forth, I shine. I go in and I come to life. My seat is on my throne.
Oh, we're just, moving how you feel inclined. If you just want to sit, go for it.
I rule it by my mouth, speaking and in silence. I maintain an exact balance, season from season. What is in the divine, I am one, coming from the Almighty is on my throne, and I shall loving myself. Simply to be who I am, just to believe that who I am is looking in the mirror is my chance. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I looked at my face, my eyes, my smile, and that's when I realized it had been here all the while. I looked at myself, so strong, tall and proud. I looked in my heart and I knew love was found. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. Hey, I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. This
All right. I wanted to play this song especially because I feel like it really connects to prayer. We're going to be talking a lot about verbal prayer today, but I wanted to remind us that even the act of, cleaning our house is a form of prayer and a form of self-care, obviously. But yeah, this is one of my favorite Sacred Woman songs.
is our time. This is our day. This is our hour. Be alive. This is our time. This is our day. This is our house. This is our time. This is our day. This is our house. Never have seen. This is our and we must clean clean it to receive spirit. Sweet, sweet, let flow. Let the clean air go through and find no corner of all the decay and mildew. Make those mirrors clean. Don't block your blessings, they are me. This is our time. This is our day. This is our this is our time. This is our day. This is our house. Never let's see. This is our day. We got to release all that's been. Let go of all the past that's been holding us back. The work you can't absent you must do it if you want to fly, 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 fly. This is our time. This is our day. This is our house. This is our time. This is our day. This is our house. This is our time. Our This is our day. Clean your house, clean your soul, then it make you feel love. Clean your soul, then you clean your life. Clean your life, then you know you feel right. Clean your house, baby, clean your house, clean your soul, then you know
song I love because I know my kids are gonna not be happy about it when they're older. They're gonna be like, on Sunday morning, she would play the Sacred Woman CD, starting with that song, and they're gonna be so upset. But it's okay. No. I hope there'll be more CDs by then, so I won't have this one on repeat. No. Hi, Tyra. Let's see. Oh, here's the one.
I open my heart to enter, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go to see what my life is going to be. I open my heart to enter, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go. I will go, I shall go. I will go, I shall go to see what my life is going to be. To see what my life is going to be. I open my heart to enter, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go. I will go, I shall go. I will go, I shall go to see what my life is going to be. To see what my life is going to be. I open my heart to enter, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go. I will go, I shall go. I will go, I shall go to see what my life is going to be. To see what my life is going to be. I open my heart to enter, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go. I will go, I shall go. I will go,
right. For um for today, I think we're going to stop with those few. But that CD, if you like it, is found on Queen Afwa's like website. You can just go to her Instagram, I'm pretty sure, click the link and it will take you there. Or you can just look her up. I mean, she's pretty, you can find her. And I'm gonna close the door. Okay. So I forgot even what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the CD. So yeah, you can just find that on Queen's website and support Queen. And let's see. Next, I'm going to try and set up an altar real quick. This is part of why it took me so long because I was like, oh, I can just be out there. It's going to be so easy. And then I get out here and yeah, it's like mayhem trying to pull it together. Be a little bit closer. Where did I? Okay, so we're going to first start with our libations and a prayer and some water, should I say, for myself. And I feel like we should also have some sort of background noise. We'll see. Okay. All right, so we're going to start off with our libations and prayer, and then we'll get into our reading and studies. This drafty ass house. These doors. Please before they get wet. we're going to start with our fire breaths. And remember, when doing this, if you feel lightheaded, you will stop and don't push yourself in further. We're going to do 100 of them, and it's rapid breathing. We'll start with 3 long breaths, and I'll ring the bell every time. But when you're breathing in, your tummy should go out. When you're breathing out, your tummy should go in. You're ready. We pour in honor of Sankofa, and we answer with Ashe. Ancestors, we thank you for your presence in our lives. And at this time, we call upon our matrilineal ancestors, our ancestors with wombs, our ancestors who were midwives, who knew how to heal the traumas that plague womanhood and plague people who have wombs. We ask that you come into our lives and help us find ways in the present to heal ourselves and heal the sisterhood around us as well as the wombs around us. Ashe. At this time, we will also take a moment of silence for anyone to call by name for themselves, somebody that they would like to have present at this circle. I'll be pouring this into the earth outside after we're done. So our first reading is in the Punani Proverbs, the womb healing workbook that I think I published this just like 2 months ago. But this one is the general just womb connection and healing experience. Stand door. I don't know how to keep these doors, closed. Maybe if I use like a pillow or something. I don't even know. So, anyways, this one has, see, and the dress. It's my kids, though. It's my kids. Tyra. And I feel like kids are forever hungry. I swear, I just fed this child like 3 pancakes this morning, and she's like, "Do you have a banana?" I'm like, "Ma'am, no, I do not have a banana. Actually, you ate the last one yesterday." But if I did. So, anyways, I wrote this workbook. My first workbook was the sexual abuse healing workbooks. But then I wanted to write a general, just womb connection and womb healing and womb, working with it, but in a way that was really centered around you and your bloodline, and your ancestry and all of that stuff, your culture. And so that's really what this one is about. It's got, stuff for charting and for any kind of womb loss. It's got, it works, even if you have, had a hysterectomy or had any other kind of issues that or illness. And so that's really what this workbook is about, is focusing on really understanding and loving yourself in that way. So I have a section here, and I'll be real, I change up little things in it all the time. I do that with all of my workbooks. So I'm sure everyone has different, slightly different version. But in this version, it was around page 206 that I had some stuff about the prayers. And it's starts with talking about you can do your prayers daily. And remember that the small daily ritual that you do to connect with your ancestors it can be very unique to yourself. And I include right here an example of the Sangomas of South Africa, because they take the time to burn herbs and make them a smoke offering to nourish the spirits. And so I think when we think about prayer, we need to think about it in a way that, doesn't necessarily make us feel like it has to be done in all of the most traditional ways that we've been taught. That's why we do sacred movement, is because it's just another way to, well, first, like, it's good for you physically, right? But then it's also a way of connecting. It's a way of really moving with your ancestors. And then also, sometimes I'll do, I'll go try and learn at like classes, or, even just watch maybe on YouTube or something, somebody's, dancing or teaching of the traditional dances in Africa, just so it's like another way you can connect. So you can do the dances from the diaspora or your own heart, or, it's all kind of sacred movement if you make it that way. So anyways, your daily prayer is less of the time for you to be asking for things, right? And it's more of a time to be grateful for what's going on. I also mentioned mealtime, talking to your food, right? I mean, there's been research, right, that when you talk over something nice, it changes the molecular structure, and when you talk over it mean or say something hateful, um, it has the opposite effect. And the same goes for your food. I'm pretty sure they've done something. It was like water molecules spoken a blessing over one of them, and the structure was totally different. Taka, can you not be rude though? Okay. They're very confused as to why I'm not here. They're like, what is going on? Okay, so blessing your food, right? And then we say, what was I going to be reading? All right, so then I wanted to also talk about making an offering of a meal. This is also a time when you'd be connecting with the ancestors. A lot of people wonder about like what can I say, or what can I do, and I think keeping it simple is still fine. A lot of the times just speaking from your heart, or speaking just generally talking to your ancestors, how your community talks to them is a very traditional and normal thing to do, which we'll get into, I think, a little bit later. So, one or more times a month, and especially when you make an excellent meal, put aside time to place food on the altar and say, I offer you a share of this meal that was created with my own hands. Ancestors, please accept this gift and throughout my life, leave your blessings. So it can be very simple and just a way that you find to connect with your ancestors through something that you have made, right? And that part I think is important, because no, I don't think, I mean, you can leave like something really like decadent there if it was like bought for your ancestors or whatever. I'm sure that's fine too, obviously, especially if it was like their favorite or something that would be enjoyed. But at the same time, putting aside the time to make your own food, make food that they once made or once enjoyed, um, is always a preferred option if possible, right? So maybe expand your own like abilities with cooking. Like I know I definitely did. My husband was gifted a turkey, and like from his company or whatever, from his job. And so I was like, okay. And he really wanted, like Thanksgiving. His mom used to go all out. She was a really good chef, like excellent. And so I was like, fine, like I'll try it out. And so I really had to like push myself, and it was really fun in a lot of ways because, like I said, before to you guys, I have been, inviting my ancestors more into my cooking, like helping me with that stuff. And I think I've been doing a lot better in a lot of ways, but I know I still have like a long, long way to go. So, I mean, it's given its take. But I do think like, I'm doing a lot better with staying like organized within there, and like being able to think up things a little bit better, and my food not having disasters as much anymore in the kitchen. So I'm really grateful for that. Um, let's see. I also think that, finding the time around when you're menstruating to do this, to connect with your mother's mothers, or your womb bearing ancestors through the like through your cooking is, you know, around when you're craving something really delicious, maybe take that time to go to the kitchen and cook up with your ancestors. Put on some, you know, burn something to smoke cleanse, and put on some good music, clean the kitchen first, and then, you know, cook up something really wonderful with your ancestors. You know, have that stuff available in your house, and you know, if you are vegan now, you know, look for those things that are still decadent, but you know, they're following the diet that you're going with, I guess. You know, if you're plant based, should I say? Because we don't really ascribe to a lot of the vegan ethics, but still, that's all I'm saying about that. All right, so let's see. I think we're going to leave it there for what we're doing in this one, but you can get this on Amazon, and the other two too, the sexual abuse healing workbooks as well. This one and another one of the workbooks is, what is it? Is gender neutral, but the sexual abuse healing ones are not yet. I have to go back and fix some wording in those two workbooks first. So, but anyways, they're still available for right now, but they'll be changing next year when I'm done. All right. So, anyways, this is a book that I had been really looking forward to getting to see, you know, like what was in it. John S. Beatty, I don't know how to say his name very well, but he is a theologian, like Christian theologian, African Christian theologian. But he has, you know, I feel like he has a really, if not, it's not like that it's sympathetic, but that, I mean, I don't see, or like that he doesn't have a problem with it. I mean, which is like a funny thing to say that I enjoy, or that I'm like okay with reading this book, because, you know, it's just, you know, a lot of Christians take a very, you know, it's the devil this attitude, and he has a very understanding attitude, and almost as if perhaps he believes in some of this himself, because it's just in very common sense take on a lot of, you know, spiritual viewpoints. So so we're gonna be not even, so this is like a prayer book kind of. It has like a ton of prayers in it, but we're gonna be focusing on the front, on the introduction. If I can find. Oh, here we go. I'm like way too far deep. We're on page 3. Okay. So I want to start at the section that says who prays to whom, because I thought this part describes, I mean, he does talk about God, and so we're going to be skipping that part just because that concept is not really related to root work and hoodoo necessarily. I mean, some people are Christian, and I mean, yeah, I mean, like, or they work with other deities like on the side. And so, you know, obviously, you know, you can do you and like enjoy that. But here in this one, just we just focus on the ancestors and nature. So in this case, yeah, we're just gonna skip that part. But he does have a, you know, a section about that, just because he is from a standpoint where most people in Africa, I mean, they're really against, you know, witchcraft. I mean, there are spells and prayers, sorry, should I say, in this against, you know, witchcraft and witches. And that's just, that's just a reality over there is, and then there is like obviously the difference between like shamanism and traditional religion and witchcraft as well. I mean, there's nuances there, there's nuances here. But all right, so we're going to start with the addressees of the prayers are numerous. Most of the prayers are addressed directly and specifically to God. He is normally mentioned by his personal or attributive name, but sometimes only addressed by implication. A few or a few, if not more than 10%, are addressed to divinities, spirits, the living dead, personifications of nature, trees, rivers, earth, etc. Examples. Oh, wait, so we're gonna skip that. That's just saying where it is. All right. Oh yeah, examples over here. They mention Kunda, the clan founder of the Ngombe, Lenana, a Maasai hero, and Nia Kang, the national founder or hero for the Shilluk. The prayers are addressed to the spiritual realities of which African people are very much aware. These realities include God, who is supreme over all, various types of spirits, personifications of natural phenomena and objects, some of which, like the sun, are regarded as manifestations of God. God is not always distinguished clearly from the other spiritual realities. In some prayers, the address may simply be directed to all collectively or just to the world of spiritual realities, regardless of who may pay attention to it there. So then he gets into the spiritual realities, and he does God first, but we're going to start with the spirits. But I did want to start with also saying, if you note, he does say the living dead, which does, obviously imply that there is a type of death wherein you're not somebody who is called on in any capacity of ancestor or of, a spiritually helpful or, anything like that type of death. And so when we talk about the ancestors, we are talking about people in our bloodline. We are talking about the living dead. And then when we also are talking about, so there's like the ancestral veneration, right? So it's like, we don't worship the ancestors, we venerate the ancestors. And then nature wise, we don't worship nature, we venerate nature, we take care of it, we work with it, we help it, grow and help it produce. And at the same time, we're able to use parts of it. We're able to use ashe. We're able to use the things that are willing to work with us for our needs, which the more connected we are with nature, the more plentiful that becomes, and the more, steps you can start taking, the more types of energy you can start using, right? The spirits are the second category of spiritual realities which emerge in these prayers. There's absolutely no question that African peoples as a whole are very much aware of the reality of spirits, or at least realities besides God which fall into the spiritual realm. People address these realities or make mention of some of them in several of their prayers. Um, let's see. We know that in African religion, it is held that some of the spirits were created as such by God. Others are the remaining portion of departed peoples. Some are personifications of natural objects and phenomena. The prayers as they stand don't always make distinctions clear, but they are just dressed chiefly to the living dead of the family, who at times may be mentioned by name, or to personifications. So I want to pause there, if you'll note, who may be mentioned by name. So I know especially on spiritual Black girls, I often get, the question, what if I don't know anybody's name? What if, or the people whose name I do know I don't think would be willing to work with me, or I don't feel comfortable doing that. What should I do? And here we see that, even hundreds of years ago, because some of these prayers are really ancient and some of them are a little bit more modern, but this is supposed to be more of a focus on the African religious prayers prior to colonization. Um, and so, yeah, so even here they're talking about who may be mentioned by name. So they may or may not even know somebody's name, but they're still honoring them as an ancestor, calling them generally as ancestor, as their family, as whatever term they feel is appropriate, or spirits, or however, I don't know, there has to be, I'm sure if it wasn't so early, I'd be able to think on that a little bit more. Um, the spirits are innumerable, thronging together like swarming mosquitoes in the evening. Some are called friendly ones, being part of this family and are asked to help, but some may cause havoc to people if they are spirits of persons who were killed unjustly. Uh, or in a battle. As a rule, the spirits of our fathers are friendly to people. They are greeted and summoned to receive libation, offering, and sacrifice, which are made as acts of remembering them. Uh, Let the great ones gather, people invoke them, and remind them that if they do not help in times of distress, your name and ours shall be forgotten upon the earth. In inviting the living dead to receive an offering, people show clearly that for them the spirits are real. Your food is here, here it is. Today we give you blood, here it is. Today we have cooked a feast for so and so. Today we have given him meat. People even comfort the spirits, the living dead, who may feel as though they have been neglected. If the other spirits are laughing at you, uh, you may poo-poo them, for they are poor. You may come, you may lick your blood, it is here. The spirits of family members who have departed, the living dead, as we call them, are the ones that feature most in the prayers. They are the spirits of the grandfathers and grandmothers, spirits of deceased parents, other relatives, spirits of deceased wives, husbands, or children. They are family spirits going back 4 or 5 generations. The living are conscious about the need to remain on good terms with these spirits. Therefore, the living perform acts of remembrance in form of offering small amounts of food and beverage, or occasionally sacrificing chickens, goats, and sheep. Indeed, many of the approaches made to these family spirits are in the context of offerings of foodstuff. The department must be remembered by the living. Otherwise, people feel uncomfortable or attribute some misfortunes to their neglect of the spirits. If you are such and such, release this child. So, see, I have lighted a fire for you. See, I have given you beer and food. Let the great ones gather. What have we done to suffer so? Here is food we give you. Aid us, your children. And being remembered, the spirits should also remember the people. O fathers and ancestors, and all who are of the near and far past, bear witness. We cry to thee to let this child be safely born. People may sometimes converse with the living dead as though in a face-to-face confrontation, even if the conversation is a monologue, since we do not hear what the departed reply. Your food is here, here it is. Let the children have their wives, let them have children, so that your names may not be obliterated. Spirits, you may walk quickly, you may come and make your clan happy. Your home is not here with the human beings. There's a baby born in this village, and there are babies about to be born. Choose for yourself, but be not hasty in choice. Before you lies many paths, choose the one fit for travel. People appeal to the spirits for various types of help, particularly in connection with sickness. Indeed, many of the prayers addressed to departed spirits are appeals for help in times of sickness or distress. Some sickness is thought to be caused by the living dead as ways of indicating displeasure with the living or reminding them to remember the departed. But appeals are made to the departed regardless of whether or not they are thought to be responsible for a particular illness. At the same time, spirits are dependent upon people and can be at their mercy. If people neglect them, then their names are obliterated or forgotten. And this is, as we've seen, like punishment to the spirits. It is people who sacrifice or make offerings to them, thus keeping them in living memory. Man can order spirits about. Your home is not here with human beings. Away to thine own and let them welcome you. See, I have lighted a fire for you. See, I have given you beer and food. Eat and be contented. Spirits can annoy or irritate people. They can tell them, improve, else we will forget you. For whose good is it that we make sacrifices and celebrate the praises? You don't bring us, you bring us neither harvest nor abundant herds. You show no gratitude whatever for all the trouble that we take, and we are angry with you. Men can send spirits away as he wishes. Your spirit, you spirit, you must leave this person alone. Go and don't return. And I think that part I wanted to say especially reminds me a lot of, what we've talked about before, that if you are working from, your hoodoo root worker's perspective, you're working from a perspective where you are the commander, you're the leader, you're the person who's in control, you're the person who, can talk to your ancestors, can ask for their help, can call spirits into your work, can call energy into your work, can control yourself, can discipline yourself and do all these things. That power is within you. And so you can do all of these things, and you should be trying and seeing what you can do and what you can change, and thinking about working that mindset of being in control of feeling in control of your life and your connection with your ancestors, and that you can talk to them, and that you can connect, and that you can add this spiritual experience to your whole entire life. All right. But anyways, I also wanted to say that it's also really interesting to see how much this book mirrors the the root working perspective in a lot of ways, because it is so inherently African. So it says, people make offerings and sacrifices in certain cases to the spirits, especially the living dead. There are many examples of this practice, which is carried out in times of need or when people are eating and drinking, in which case offering tokens of hospitality and remembrance to the departed. Among others, water is offered for, the grandparents, fire lighted for the spirit, beer and food given to the spirits at a fire lighted, food, sacrifice of a sheep, etc. Spirits are associated with certain diseases or misfortunes, and appeals to them is made in general sickness. People petition spirits for good things. Your food is here, and you can ask for the things that you would like. Spirits can get angry or displeased with people, but rarely would people take their experiences to be punishment from the spirits. In a very few cases, we get prayers addressed to the spirits of the earth, trees, and animals. The majority of prayers to the spirits are addressed to departed members of the family or some major tribal leaders. personifications of natural objects and phenomena is found out in some of the prayers. The best examples of this personification is prayer 68, which says, conspire together, earth and rivers, conspire together, earth, rivers, and forests. Be gentle and give us plenty from your teeming plenty. Um, Besides the spirits we have so far discussed, there are divinities or national heroes to whom prayers are very occasionally also addressed. Um, and so they repeat some of the ones that I said before. But with that one, I think, again, from a root working perspective, you should feel, okay with talking with ancestors that you feel connected with. Like when you have that feeling like, oh, I really connect with that person. Like it does not have to just be, some deity that potentially, is probably even dangerous to contact. It can be somebody who is an ancestor. That's somebody that you can petition to. That's somebody you can have an altar or a small little shrine to. That's somebody that you can, put some pictures together of and work with. Like John the Conqueror, like Nat Turner, like Josephine Baker, Bessie Coleman, all of those. Tyra, please wait. All of those, Harriet Tubman, all of those different ancestors that are national heroes. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. I mean, I think, really expanding your mind about who or you're willing to work with will also expand your practice and allow your practice to be unique to yourself. And who knows, maybe you have somebody who you're related to who you can find. But if you can't, like if you're adopted like I am, or if your family is just really disjointed, people don't know whose people's fathers is, that type of thing. People, people were adopted by different family members and had to switch up, all sorts of things. All sorts of things happen and people don't know, or like, they were, the product of something that shouldn't have happened or was a secret. It's a lot of things that make it so crazy that you just never know. It's like you can only go back so far. As a lot of people, they can only go back so far with what little information they had. So finding something that you can hold on to and really, put some energy into and feel if you can get a solid yes. You know what I mean? I think that, you'll know if it's really wrong for you to be reaching out to this particular ancestor. Like let's say you reach out to Josephine Baker and it just doesn't feel right. Like you don't feel like you've done something totally wrong, because it is your right to talk to different ancestors and see, what really is your path and how you really do connect. So anyways, that's that on national heroes. All right, it says it's usually in the family. Role, age, and position of intermediaries, if any, do not emerge often very clearly in these older prayers. The majority of the prayers have absolutely no intermediate figure between the speaker and whoever you're addressing. So you can talk directly to your God. You can talk directly to your to nature, to your ancestors. Oh, I think actually that was all we were supposed to read today. All right, so y'all, anyways, I'm going to just say we're gonna wrap it up today. All right, Taka, I'll be there in just a minute. Okay. All right. So I'll see you guys next Monday. I'll probably just be back in my room. These kids are atrocious in the morning. I thought feeding them breakfast beforehand was gonna make them better, but they got so thrown off by me being in here. They're out of it. So anyways, until then, don't forget to work on your winter solstice work, between now and next week. Also, I wanted to say, don't forget to, find some way to honor your ancestors. Don't forget to find some way to honor them. That will be special for the holiday season. I decided this year, I was like, what, my kids like really been looking at Christmas trees lately, and been all impressed by them, so I went ahead and bought a freaking mannequin, y'all, and I'm gonna do one of those dress form trees. And I was gonna dress it up like a for ancestral, like an ancestral one. So hopefully, it's got some like golden sparkly skin, and it's got a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna try and show you guys a video of that, maybe, or like at least just show it after I'm done. All right, sorry about the noise, sorry about my babies, and I'll see you all next Monday. Until then, may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads. See you.